you're seeing this weekend. Now, back to the guest at hand. Nadav-Sacha Santo.
Navi.
Navi! Ah, sweet Navi boy. We've been chatting for the past hour almost here about your film CABBi, about the themes of the misunderstood or emasculated toxic male, the loner, the outcast, the outsider, and the different realms of the political spectrum that could drive someone to the extremes of society, let's say, and violence. What else do you want to cover about your film, about these themes? Is there anything that you feel we haven't discussed yet that you want the people out there to know about you, your filmmaking career, or the film that you are currently working on?
Yeah, no, great question. Like we covered a lot of stuff. I mean, I think everyone sort of gets what the film's about. You know, it's a lot of, I think, shared anxiety that everyone's got, even us up in here in Canada. It's not something that's just isolated to the States. You know, it's something that we're seeing up here, we're seeing overseas. So it's very much a now global sort of concern issue and stuff like that. So I think it's really important, and like part of what I love about being a filmmaker is sort of telling challenging stories. And some of my favorite films are films that haunt me for days. And so the fact that I was able to write something that haunted people for days that they just couldn't stop thinking about really sort of encouraged me and gave me sort of the encouragement to sort of keep pushing the envelope and keep writing those lines to see how far I could push things to challenge the audience. And so I don't want to toot my own horn and say it's like a really important film. It's a parody of a film that happened almost 50 years ago, but I feel like, as you said, like I think the timing is just right. I feel like this moment, this story is is right here, right now, and really reflects a lot of people's anxieties and fears and frustrations, I think, over how things are going. And it's a bit of a warning, in that regard. But like truth, narrative, like there's gotta be some kind of solution, to this whole mess, and I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I feel like a lot of what corporations are doing to profiteer off of misinformation, to profiteer off of this divisiveness, to go like, well, it's just an algorithm. It's like you're tweaking the algorithm specifically. You're now designing news for specific niche audiences, and just because that is the trend of what makes money is probably the reason why we shouldn't have corporations in our news to begin with. But
strongly agree.
But like it's just you can't trust it, unfortunately, and so all of those things are sort of what is in this story. And so we're just looking to try to convince 1,000 people out there to chip in $25 each, and we'll hit our goal, and we'll be able to get this thing rolling and have something hopefully in festivals for this fall.
Fantastic. Well, Navi, I want to
do it, Navi. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I want to thank you so much for coming in and having a conversation with me. I think it is an important topic that you are covering. I think they can be uncomfortable topics that people don't want to interact with, and I think that's what's engaging. Because I mean, I had conversations with people that they were like, oh, a film like Taxi Driver couldn't get made today because it would be too divisive. No one would know what to do with the protagonist. And the fact that you're handling that head on and directly making people look at it, hold the mirror up to themselves in our society, and really examine what would drive someone to go to those extremes. What is objective truth? What are the effects of this constant echo chamber, of this siloed lifestyle that we're constantly living by being only online, being digital, by being stuck in our own self-fed algorithm of objective truth? Those are important things.
Absolutely. That truth, that whatever's trending, that becomes the narrative, even if it's completely made up, even if it's only half the truth, even if like, oh well, they have a correction down the line, that's not going to get boosted by the algorithm because it's not engaging enough.
That's true.
So as a society, we now start sewing in these lies into what we collectively believe is true.
I remember when I was having a conversation with my father one day, and I was explaining to him how that when I open up my Facebook and you open up your Facebook, what we see is completely different from each other.
Yeah.
Like the news that is fed to us is different. The stories that trend to us are different. When we Google things, the results that we get are different. We can Google the same questions and get different answers.
Yeah.
And how that is changing the objective reality of what people see, because the world that I'm viewing through my little rectangular digital lens, like my world that I hold in my hand, is different than your world. So my truth is different than your truth.
Exactly.
And that can make a very, very confusing world to navigate when we're all trying to find what the narrative through line is of what objective reality is. And I think being able to tell stories, and most importantly, put down the phones and have conversations with people, like the conversation we're having right now, is where the path forward to a better world, or at least a more compassionate world, where maybe we can get out of this alive.
Yeah.